Okay, Remy, good morning for you and good evening for me. I'm hoping very much that this video proves to be an effective precursor to the conversation that you and I will have when I come to Europe next month. I'll be there just a couple of weeks. And I will do my very best at your request to speak slowly. And I apologize that I don't speak French, and I'm hoping so much that this video, once uploaded to YouTube, you'll be able to push subtitle in French and be able to clarify any points that I may cover still too quickly. But I promise I will try to keep this very, very measured and slow. And once again, I apologize that I cannot communicate with you in French. I will get to your specific request, that being a discussion of the compensation plan and how you and your people can generate income more quickly, in my estimation, more readily, more quickly, and in a more sustained fashion in the Canaway compensation plan than you can where you are today in the industry and where you've been prior. But I think that most constructively, the most important thing that I can do prior to getting to the compensation plan is to hopefully change the conversation. I'd like to redirect the dialogue. Yes, the Canaway compensation plan is remarkable, but to focus the conversation on the compensation plan is to misunderstand the importance of our overall message. I understand that you have a stated desire to attract a group of people who may be disaffected with another network marketing company and may be searching for a new home. But Remy, I need you to understand that we're participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis. This is the biggest message. This is the biggest opportunity to participate in a major sea change that perhaps you've yet experienced in your life. I believe that it's the greatest opportunity that I have experienced in my life. We are participating in the unwinding of a series of mistakes that took place globally, beginning nearly 70 years ago. And when I meet people with network marketing or direct selling experience who are of course tempted to put our company Canaway on a balance scale with something else they've seen or participated in the direct selling industry, it is making a mistake, in my opinion. For this reason, it's my experience and my belief that there is a relatively small segment of society, measured in 3 or 4%, who have embraced the direct selling industry. And even your stated objective of appealing to a group of people who are currently involved in another direct selling company is limiting the scope of our opportunity to those tiny percentage of people who have embraced the industry, and then a tiny percentage of those people who have embraced a particular company, as opposed to recognizing that there are untold millions, not hundreds of thousands, there are untold millions of people who will embrace a message of participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis that have already said in advance that they don't want to be involved in direct selling. And so I do want to show you the complete distinguishing characteristics of our company versus the other direct selling companies that you're familiar with. But I want you to please wipe clean the metaphorical whiteboard, start with a brand new clean slate, and recognize that we can talk to countless untold millions of people who will embrace our message. For the first time in my 28 years in this industry, we have a message where the power of the message overcomes the insecurities that people have with the direct selling industry. I'll state that another way. The direct selling industry is curious in many ways. One way is that our industry, as beautiful as it is, has the unique ability to provoke feelings of insecurity among even the most secure people, and people who will say no to every other direct selling company will say yes to our company. Why? Because we're participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis. So while I will finally get to the compensation plan analysis that you've asked for, it would be a disservice to not look at the entire big picture. And so there are a few things that I want to call to your attention which may not be immediately evident to you. First, it has to do with the breadth of enthusiasm, with the breadth of the product offering and the percentage of society to whom it would appeal. in our industry, and in fact in companies generally, whether or not they be direct selling, there is usually a relatively small percentage of the population who would embrace any particular idea. For example, companies that are involved in the skincare industry are principally tailoring a segment of the market, typically addressing the female population and typically addressing that part of the female population who now find themselves feeling their age and they would like to retain youth. And so we've separated ourselves to the female population and to that part of the population who are today struggling mightily to retain the appearance of youth. That's a wonderful thing. We have a skincare offering that we believe does that, but it's a very, very secondary part of our overall message. I personally believe that skincare should be an add-on message, that it should not be a primary message, for the simple reason that it separates men from the discussion and it then targets that percentage of the female populace who find themselves today, beginning for the first time, to feel that they don't look quite as youthful as they once did. That's a wonderful market, but it's a limited market. Our product line does not separate itself by gender or by age. It doesn't matter if one is more physically fit than I or less physically fit, if one is older than I or younger, if one is a man or if one is a woman, if one is athletically inclined or if one is sedentary. None of those things matter. Our product idea has something important to say to each of those people. Now we can look at another product idea that is very prominent in the direct selling industry, that being nutrition generally. Antioxidant has been a big topic of discussion for a long time. You know as well as I do, Remy, how very difficult it is to separate and to provide clear distinction in a product category that is so very, very crowded. And it's just the truth that direct selling participants have for years found themselves in the uncomfortable situation of trying to explain why their nutritional supplement of whatever iteration is worth the price when you can buy something that looks so much like it at a natural food store or at a health food store. It is so extraordinarily difficult and the space is so very, very crowded. These are the reasons that most direct selling companies find themselves being almost entirely opportunity driven, with the distributor or brand ambassador or whatever they're called doing their best to create product validity, but in fact it is opportunity, 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 hopefully supported by a product idea. A truly important company will be one where the product itself is what creates the opportunity, not where the product itself is in fact secondary to the opportunity if you take away the financial incentive of its participation. It matters not if you're younger than me or if you're older than me, if you're more physically fit or less physically fit, if you're more educated or less educated, more sophisticated or less sophisticated, what your lifestyle choices may be, our product matters to you. I can make that as a blanket statement. Why? Because our body's largest self-regulatory system is its endocannabinoid system. That's larger than our circulatory system. It is larger than our respiratory system. It governs everything from mood to appetite to sleep to hormone production. And when one feeds that system, and that is what we do, we don't provide medication, we provide food to a part of our system that has been systematically starved for now 3.5 generations, and the results need not be made up or manufactured. They're clear, they are obvious, and they are absolutely beyond refute. Also very important to note that you cannot find items like those that we sell being offered for less money someplace else. There's so much that I could say about the product idea. The product idea must be fully understood in order to see why we cannot simply put our company on a balance scale against anything else you've ever seen, observed, or participated in the industry. We are separate, we are unique, we are distinct, and one to fully understand our opportunity would realize that trying to compare us face to face with anything else you've ever seen in the direct selling industry is an effort in futility. We are different. And I'll take it another step. We are not just different, we are better. And one of the primary reasons is because we have access to the entire population, not only to that very small segment of the population who has chosen to embrace the direct selling industry. And so, Remy, your idea of positioning yourself in an environment where you may or may not be successful in capturing a group of people who are apparently dissatisfied elsewhere in the industry. That's an exciting idea, but it's a really small idea. That's a little idea. That's not an idea that will still be here in 5 years or 10 years. That's a situational experience that will come and it will go, and you may or may not have success in capturing those people. Here's what I want you to know. If no one in France, if no one in Europe who is involved in Jeunesse ever joins our company, that won't bother us. If not a single distributor joins us from Herbalife, that won't bother us. If no one who is or has been involved with Nu Skin ever joins us, that won't bother us. If not one Amway distributor ever joins us, that won't bother us. If not one person from Duo Life, if not one person from Synergy, if not one person from Forever Living Products, and I've probably repeated those names, you extend it wherever you want to go. If not one person who has ever embraced the direct selling industry before joins us, that will be okay with us because we have access to everybody else. Now, of course, many will join us because some will have the clarity of vision to see the separate, unique nature of our opportunity and realize that absolutely we have access to that group of people who have embraced the industry, but we have access to all of the others who will say no to every other company. Remember, the direct selling industry has the unique ability of provoking profound insecurity among even the most secure people. People who would say no to every other network marketing opportunity will say yes to us with eagerness. Why? Because we're participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis. I need to go a little bit further in discussion of the product idea. Our company's basic health premise is that with the eradication of hemp from the food chain, these cannabinoids, principally cannabidiol, CBD, has been eradicated from the food chain. People who, like me, enjoy good health, we seek to retain youth, vitality, energy, strength, stamina, virility. We seek to retain all that makes life good. And there's nothing we can do that will more likely aid in that process than the consumption of these cannabinoids, which have not been previously available. But there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all product. Far too many companies have tried to create a one-size-fits-all product. Our company has more wisdom. We offer multiple ways of gaining those 50 milligrams of these cannabinoids. Multiple ways. Why? Because we're different, because bodies function differently. And so we offer multiple ways to accomplish that daily intake. And for those who do suffer severe health challenges, we offer multiple ways to get not just 50, but 150 or 250 or 400 milligrams per day of the absolute highest quality, pure botanical cannabidiol and other non-psychoactive cannabinoids. And unique to this industry of direct selling, you will never have to justify the prices of our company. If you find a product that looks like ours or that purports itself to being like ours, it will cost more. That's a blanket statement. It's what I stand by, and it's true. What we sell is either singular, unique, you cannot find it anyplace else, or if you can find a product that looks like ours and purports itself to being like ours, ours will cost less. That's unique positioning in the marketplace. It's yet another of the reasons you simply cannot compare us to anyone else in the industry, unless you're simply looking and saying, wow, the whole industry is over there and Kannaway is over here. This is not a regurgitation or a retelling of the same story that has been told so often by so many companies. And so, Remy, I chose not to go immediately to the topic of your choice, not to immediately go to the compensation plan, because in so doing I would have gone past the very reason that the compensation plan can be fuel. The compensation plan is the furnace. That's the furnace. But a furnace that has no fuel will produce no heat. And the fuel is all of the components brought together, starting first and foremost. By far the most important part of what we do is the nature of our product offering, the uniqueness of our product offering, the huge barriers of entry that exist for others trying to do what we do. Of critical importance also is the fact that all of our product is sourced in Europe. We are in fact a European company. Today the products delivered in the United States are imported here from Europe. And so the advantages that we have going forward, we will have no supply chain problems. We will not be stuck paying big import duties. Our product is sourced in Europe. Our product will be for the European market, fully manufactured in Europe, not exporting from the United States to Europe. We are different than anything you've before been involved in. We are different than anything else you may be looking at and contemplating and considering. The second thing that one must consider is the company itself. And once again, we're not simply a participant in this space. We are not just participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis. We're causing it. Kannaway is owned by Medical Marijuana Incorporated. Medical Marijuana Incorporated is the first publicly traded cannabis company in the world. The company had over a $400 million profit last year. We are not worried about how we're going to fund our expansion and our growth into Europe. We are not just a company in the arena. We are the company. Once again, trying to compare us, trying to put us on a scale and compare us to Kiani or to Jeunesse or to Nu Skin or to Herbalife. Those are fine companies, but they simply are not comparisons to our company. One has to look at this with a different vision, with a different understanding of the realities of today and what the future can hold for those who correctly produce a leadership foundation. That, by the way, is the only missing ingredient. Everything else is in place. The one missing ingredient is the leadership foundation. That's what gives rise to our conversation. That is what your opportunity is. It is to become a foundational leader, and that leads to the next topic, which must be addressed prior to getting to the compensation mechanism, and that is the timing of the venture. And Remy, very simply put, you can choose today to either become a foundational, a cornerstone in the foundation upon which others build for decades to come, or you can affiliate yourself with many other fine companies and you can build upon the foundation long since created by another. They're different possibilities. They are different opportunities. They are simply not the same. I'm an investor, and periodically I'll have people ask me about an individual stock. IBM, International Business Machines, for example. Periodically I'm asked, what do you think, Randy, is investing in IBM? Should I buy IBM stock? I think that would be a good idea, but it would not be the same idea as investing in IBM would have been 80 years ago. It would be a completely different idea. Today, one buys IBM not for growth, not to create wealth, but to create modest income and dividends. There was a time when one could create wealth by accumulating those same shares. Is buying a share of Apple stock today a good idea? I think it's a very good idea. Is it the same idea as buying Apple stock 30 years ago? It is a completely different idea. Will participating in Kannaway a decade from now in Europe be a good idea? I think it will be a very good idea. I've committed myself, I've committed the balance of my career to making certain that a decade from now it will be a fantastic idea to join Kannaway in Europe, to join Kannaway in France. Will it be the same idea as joining now? A completely, totally different idea. The first element one must consider, and the by far the overreaching foundational reason to be involved in our company, is the product idea participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis. Joining a company that is not one of the players but the player in the industry, becoming foundational, being a cornerstone in the development of our business on an entire continent. Those things must be contemplated and considered prior to even getting to the compensation plan. And then finally, I will have the discussion that you asked for. Your stated objective is an admirable one. The objective of helping people who join you generate the greatest income in the shortest period of time with confidence that that income can have stability in the long term, having an ability to create meaningful income quickly, but knowing that an extraordinary income can be developed which will last for a long time, that can last permanently. Those become topics of not just compensation, but all of the things that we've described. Once again, the compensation plan is the furnace. The product idea is the fuel. The ownership, the management is the fuel. The leadership hierarchy, that is the fuel. When we have the right fuel to feed the furnace, which is the compensation plan, then we can have the kind of outcomes that people talk about, think about, dream about, but seldom actually accomplish. And so I will here describe to you the facets of our compensation plan that I think are most important for you to know now. This will not be a discussion of every single piece of it, but the most important parts for you to know and understand now as you weigh this decision of what are you going to do with your career, and I hope what are you going to do with your life. A decision to get involved in Canaway, I believe, should be a decision to invest yourself, to invest your career, to invest your life in this process. One of the things that was concerning to me is when we spoke and you talked about the fact that you've joined a company and that your thoughts are to be there for a year or so. Candidly, Remy, if your time horizons are a year, if that's what you're thinking of, we're not good business partners. That's not the direction that I'm going. And I want to associate myself and affiliate myself with people who are ready to plant the flag and to do all that is required to be foundational and to remain that foundation piece, to provide the necessary leadership to launch a company now and to still be providing the kind of leadership to grow, support, and sustain that company, those organizations, years and years and years from now. And so once again, in some respects, our mindset is similar. We both embrace this industry. In some respects, our mindset is really quite different as we now contemplate and consider what the possibilities are. To the compensation plan. The very first way that one generates income in Canaway is through a compensation plan component that is called the direct sales bonus. The direct sales bonus is triggered when you enroll a new member or customer who acquires one of our value packs. In fact, the direct sales bonus is earned whether or not you acquire a value pack. There are certain provisions in the compensation plan that I'll describe in a moment which pay you a remarkably added bonus if value packs are involved. The direct sales bonus works like this. When a person chooses to join our company, I hope that you will join me in guiding that person in placing what is for him or for her an appropriate initial order. That appropriate initial order should contemplate what is the new member's goal, not what is my goal and what is yours, but what is the new member's goal, what is the new member's financial circumstance, what is the new member's willingness to work, and it should also contemplate proper business building and duplication strategies. Having contemplated and considered those things, then that new member will acquire one of the following. Either a starter pack, that is the lowest entry point in our business, and I'm going to use now round numbers. That would be approximately $225 as their entry point into the business. They may acquire a junior executive pack. That would be in the neighborhood of $650. They may choose to acquire an executive package, which will be about $800, or they may choose to acquire a total product experience pack, which will be around $1,500. The difference in these packages is plain and simple the number of our products that are included. The reason that I always encourage a person to place the largest appropriate, notice I said appropriate, I want to help people financially. I never want people to place an order they can't afford. I want to help, I never want to hurt. I want to give people security, I never want to cause insecurity. And so for some people, the appropriate order is the smallest one. Many people join us because they need to make money. Even people who are in the most advanced economies in the world are oftentimes very short on cash. And so for many people, that is the appropriate initial order. For a person for whom financial resources are available, I believe everyone for whom it is appropriate, they should acquire the total product experience pack with this simple logic. It's clearly easier for you to properly represent a product if you've had a chance to see it, touch it, taste it, feel it, experience it, know what the benefits are because you've used it, as opposed to believing what the benefits may be because someone else told you that. And so a person will join our business and they will acquire whichever of these packs is appropriate for them, and that will then trigger for the enrolling member, for the sponsor, a direct sales bonus. The direct sales bonus for a starter pack is $20. The direct sales bonus for a junior executive pack is $75. The direct sales bonus for an executive pack is $100. And the direct sales bonus for a total product experience pack is $150. Now, Remy, based upon our conversations that we've had to date, based upon your past successes in the industry, I have every reason to believe that you will earn the first compensation plan designation. It's called being Fast Start Qualified. To become Fast Start qualified means simply that you have enrolled yourself with one of these enrollment packs and that you have personally enrolled 3 people who did likewise within 30 days of the date of your enrollment. It doesn't matter which pack. You may enroll with the Total Product Experience pack, and you may enroll one with an executive pack, one with a junior executive pack, and one with a starter pack. That would be natural. Why? Because I want each person to make the purchase that is appropriate for him or her. I don't want them to make a purchase that is being imposed upon them by their enrolling sponsor. And so there will be some mixture of these. My guess is that you will enroll 3 people in your first couple of hours in the business. Should you choose to do this, you will then be Fast Start qualified. As a result of being Fast Start qualified, then each of these numbers are triple. So as one who is Fast Start qualified, then always, not just with your first enrollments, but forever. For example, Samantha and I, my wife, have now enrolled more than 150 brand ambassadors and customers. And because we're Fast Start qualified, when we enroll someone who acquires a starter pack, we're not $20 but $60. When we enroll someone who acquires a junior executive pack, we are not $75 but $225. When we enroll someone who acquires an executive pack, we are not $100 but $300. When we enroll someone with a Total Product Experience pack, we are not $150 but $450. Now, industry-wide, this would be competitive. Okay? These direct sales bonuses would be competitive with the industry. When you are Fast Start qualified, you earn 3 times that. And so, to go back to your earliest commentary, Randy, I want to know how the people who join me can become financially viable quickly. Enroll with an enroller pack, become Fast Start qualified. Very simple process, requires only that you enroll 3 people who do likewise in 30 days. And now for the life of your participation in Callaway, which, Remy, should be for your life, not for a year, not for a little while. I will encourage you, in fact, not to join us if your mindset is, let me do this for a little while. If what you want to do is plant your flag in the sand and make a decision that impacts your life for the rest of it, then I would love to do this with you. I have no interest whatsoever in building a business with someone who's got a 1-year time horizon. Now, that is a recipe for failure. So I encourage you to shift that thinking a little bit and join me in that idea that when we talk about the life of our participation in Callaway, I want that to be equivalent with our life. It can be. You get a chance to make sure that this opportunity remains what you want it to be as part of a foundational leadership group. You get a chance to influence future decisions made by the company. That's part of being on the foundation. It's part of our position. The direct sales bonus, that is the first way that a person generates income. Now, the second income component is a continuation of this Fast Start idea. Our compensation plan, if I were to give it a name, what is it? It is a fully compressed unilevel. A fully compressed unilevel with dynamic compression and coded leadership bonus. Now, those words will mean something to people who've been around the direct selling industry. For people who are brand new to it, those words and phrases might not mean much. You have been around the industry. So what is our compensation plan? It is a fully compressed unilevel with dynamic compression and coded leadership bonuses. We'll come here and we'll talk briefly about those various components as we go. And so the way that the bonus looks, here are you. So here is Remy. And now you begin to enroll people. And when you enroll people, what we have is a default. When you enroll people, this will automatically place each of those enrollments on your front line. However, we are fortunate to be building a compensation plan mechanism where you need only have 2 valid working legs, just 2. Now, this is not a binary comp plan. I have a great dislike for binary. Not a small dislike, a great dislike. The slippery slope that the entire industry has allowed itself to fall down into an entire industry full of new company after new company launching with binary has created the worst business building behaviors that I've ever seen and has frankly, it's created an entire generation of people who don't know how to build a business correctly because they've been brought up in binary. Nevertheless, we need only have 2 active valid legs. By the way, in your current affiliation, you must have 3. That's 50% more difficult. I will never say that this is easy. Nothing great was ever accomplished by doing something that is easy. This is, however, easier than anything I've seen before. The reason it's easier, however, is not because of the compensation plan itself. The reason it's easier is because of the broad number of people who will not just agree to look at, but eagerly look at, and in fact seek to look at who we are. Why? Because we're participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis. I can't say that often enough. I can't say it with enough emphasis. I can't overstate the importance of that possibility. That's why we need to broaden our horizon and not simply think about that handful of people that we may or may not be able to enroll who are dissatisfied with some other direct selling company. Okay, so we will begin to enroll, and I'm hoping that you'll join me in the idea that we have something for everyone. We can, and I'm living it every day, we can enroll at will because of the power of our message. Each of these people that we enroll will be defaulted onto our front line. We are then given the opportunity to place those people in our organization where we find the greatest benefit for each of them, I hope. I hope you will be placing people in your organization to their benefit, knowing that ultimately, if you do that which is right for others, the laws of the universe will conspire in our favor, and it'll wind up being the best for us as well. Now, we need to put an asterisk here. We do need to have a 3rd active leg, just a 3rd active leg, that is all. There need not be any volume in it, just a person who is active doing 110 points per month. That meets the 3rd leg qualifier. So we begin enrolling. And as we enroll, they default to our front line. We then have the opportunity to place them where we want in our organization. I described becoming Fast Start qualified. That simply means that you acquire one of the value packs and enrollment package. You personally enroll 3 people who do likewise within 30 days of the date of your enrollment. In so doing, you then are eligible to participate in what's called Fast Start 3000. You asked me if there was a way for people to generate meaningful income quickly. Meaningful means different things to different people. But I think that these Fast Start bonuses I'll now describe, you will agree with me, are meaningful to the vast majority. To be Fast Start qualified simply means that this group, whatever it looks like, this group, has produced 3,000 business volume points in a 60-day, not 30-day period of time. Now I want to stop here and comment for a moment. Our industry has likewise slid down this slope. When I first got involved in direct selling, and this has now been 28 years ago, when I got involved in the industry, it was quite consistent that if a person spent $1.20 to $1.25, they got 1 business volume point or 1 commissionable point. As time has gone on, even companies who would argue that they have never changed the compensation plan have in fact changed it, because it once took about $1.25 or $1.30 to get a volume point, and now across the industry it takes $2, $2.20, $2.30. And so even though the structure of the plan might look the same, it takes twice as much cash in to get the amount of commission check out that it took 25 years ago. That's true almost industry-wide. And so I want to explain to you what our company's strategy is. In our value packs, because of that direct sale bonus, which is very, very lucrative. Once again, remember that for a total product experience pack, one can get paid $450 up front. Well, that has to be accounted for. So the value packs have about 50% dollar to business volume, but minus the value packs where these big direct sales bonuses are being triggered, it's an average of about 80%. And so our company is about what it was when I got started years ago. That's not what you're currently experiencing. In order to understand the compensation plan, you must realize that we have an 80% average dollar to business volume after those value packs. Those value packs had big direct sales bonuses paid. So they're about 50%, but the ongoing business is about 80%. So it takes about $1.25 to get a business volume point. That's like it was when I got involved in the industry. That's not like what you're experiencing right now. You need to really fully quantify the importance of that. It will take far less cash in to meet the various volume requirements in Kannaway than what you are and have been involved with. That's an important distinguishing characteristic. You need to fully understand that when trying to compare. In compensation plan, you can just put them on the scale and compare one to the other. Compensation plan, you can do direct comparisons. To do that direct comparison, please be sure you understand the cash in, not just the total volume points. Understand how much cash it takes to get the volume point. And in so doing, you'll understand this is a very, very lucrative compensation plan, much more so than your current affiliation. Okay, so this fast start is what? It's when you have 3,000 volume points created by these people in your group, and no more than 60% of the total volume can be in any one leg. So you got 3,000 volume points. You could have that 3,000 done by having 30 different frontline people who all did 100 points. That would do it. You could have it by having 1,800 here and 1,200 here with one active person here. That would likewise do it. Now, what would be the outcome? I want to speak to you specifically, Remy, not to others. I'm speaking now specifically to you. You have the capacity, if you choose, you can enroll 7 people in the next 7 days who all acquire, I'm just going to pick one of the packs, who all acquire an executive pack. You can do that. So if you were to enroll with a value pack yourself and enroll 7 people who acquired an executive pack, here would be your outcome. You would be Fast Start qualified. You would earn $2,100 in direct sales bonus. And because those 3,000 volume points were created in 60 days or less, you would then earn a $1,000 bonus that is called the Fast Start 3,000 bonus. Now notice that can be earned over 60 days, cumulative, the first month and the second month added together. Also, most of what you have done in your career has been compensation that was always computed weekly. We have some parts of our compensation plan that pay every week so that people who need to receive cash can receive it now. The larger parts of the compensation plan, the Fast Start 3,000 and the unilevel payout and various others that I'll describe as we go along, they are paid once per month. And so these are tiny figures, little tiny numbers, 3,000 points accumulated over 60 days. That's a little number. You could do that by personally enrolling 7 people who acquired the executive pack. That would produce 2,800 volume points. Get one more customer, that would make you 3,000. And you would then have earned $2,100 in direct sales bonus and $1,000 in this Fast Start 3,000. For 3,000 volume points, you could earn $3,100. That's more than you will earn anywhere else in this industry, period. I'm not saying something I think, I'm saying what I know. And by the way, the amount of cash in to require those 3,000 volume points would also be less than any place you could go in the industry. You asked me very specific compensation plan comparisons. The same amount of cash in anywhere else in the industry will not produce that cash out that I've just described. Where you are right now would not begin to produce. The same amount of cash in would not begin to produce the cash out that we have here. Your stated objective, can I show my people how to make more money more quickly? The answer is yes. Purely and simply from a compensation plan standpoint, it's yes. But the biggest reason, let's not forget, the compensation plan is the furnace. It's the fuel. There's so much more fuel available. So much more fuel available. Because of what the product offering is, because of the company, because of the ending of the prohibition of cannabis, you have access to so many more people. I'll never say easy, but is it easier? Yes, so much easier. The next step is when you become Fast Start 9,000 qualified, and that then extends this out another 30 days. Now it is 90 days, not 60 days. It's 9,000 volume points accumulated over month 1, month 2, and month 3, with no more than 60% of that volume being in any one leg. When you do that, you earn another $1,000 bonus. Now, I need to make a clarifying comment. Those $1,000 bonuses, the Fast Start 3,000 bonus and the Fast Start 9,000 bonus, are each $1,000, but they're paid out in $500 increments. One $500 paid the 15th of the month after you've qualified for it, the next one paid 30 days later. Each of those two $1,000 bonuses are paid out in $500 increments, spaced out 30 days each. Okay. All we've talked about here are the very earliest part of the compensation plan. There are two really important compensation plan components that I'm going to address at the end of the discussion. One is called the minimum income guarantee. One is called, in the compensation plan document, it's called the coded infinity bonus. I would like that name to be changed to the coded leadership bonus because that's really what it is. But let's now talk about the unilevel. Remember I said this was a unilevel with dynamic compression. What does that mean? It simply means that someone who is inactive does not take up a generation. And so if we have 3 or 4 generations of people who are in the system, maybe they're customers and they're buying periodically but not buying every month. A person who is in the system but not active does not take up space. Dynamic compression means that it will keep looking and keep looking and keep looking until it finds an active person and compress it into payout. And so here we go. If this is you, here is Remy, and Remy has this block of volume. And this, by the way, will be helpful for you possibly. We all have an identical 9-generation block of volume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 generations deep. On the first generation, we get paid 2%. On the second generation, 3%. The third generation, 4. Fourth generation, 5. Fifth generation, 6. Sixth is 7. 7 is 8. 8 is 9. And 9 is 10. That's our 9-generation block of volume on this unilevel. Over the years, I've of course had many people ask me what would make this a legitimate compensation mechanism versus illegitimate, and it's simply this, that this person on your first generation, he or she has an identical 9-generation block of volume. It takes in 1 generation that yours does not, and that's what makes it legal. That's what makes it legitimate. This person has a 9-generation block of volume. It takes in 2 generations that yours does not, 1 generation that this one does not. Now remember, this is a unilevel, and so we could have an enormous number of groups wide. And there's some argument, if you didn't understand the whole compensation plan, you'd say, well, I should keep everyone I enroll on my first generation because that'll let me have a bigger block of volume. No. The unilevel is a modest, a very small part of the overall compensation plan. Here I'd like to illustrate for you a component called the minimum income guarantee. The way the minimum income guarantee works is that each rank, starting at executive director, which is a very small business. Executive director is 5,000 volume points in a month, not in a week. 5,000 volume points. And once again, whenever I talk about any rank, the only qualifier is that no more than 60% of the required volume at that rank can come out of any one leg. And so to do 5,000 volume points, you could have 10 people on your first generation who all did 500, and that would do it. Or you could have one leg that did 3,000 and one leg that did 2,000 and just one more active, and that would likewise do it. Well, at any rank, starting at executive director, there is a minimum income guarantee associated with that rank. You can earn more. There's no limit on what you can earn on the upside, but there is an income guarantee associated with the rank. Starting at executive director, which is 5,000 points, you have a guaranteed income of $500. Now, I'd like to focus, when we talk about this minimum income guarantee, I would like to focus on a station in the plan called area director. Area director means that you have 15,000 volume points. This is in a month again, so again, a very small business. 15,000 volume points. No more than 60% of it can be in any one leg. And so you can have here 9,000 points, and here you can have 6,000 or 9,000 here, and spread out. You could have 15 different 1,000 point groups in your first generation. When you have 15,000 points in a month, there is an associated minimum income guarantee of $2,500. Now, once again, this is not something I think, it's something I know. If you have a person in your current business compensation mechanism who does 15,000 points in a month, they do not earn $2,500. That is an extraordinary payout. It's an extraordinary payout because the company recognizes the need to help newcomers. What did you ask, Randy? How can I help new people with relatively smaller businesses become financially viable so they then can see the future and stay the course? How can I help new people make money? Not just talk about how great it's going to be one day, but talk about how good it is now. this minimum income guarantee is a remarkable overpayment at that very small rank. What do I mean when I say remarkable overpayment? Well, an executive director, that's 5,000 points. The minimum income guarantee is $500, so that's 10%. It's a good payout, but it's not like $2,500 at 15,000. When you get to a bigger business at 45,000 points, the guarantee is $5,000, so slightly more than 10%. You see, it's a real big overweighting here. This is a beautiful, extraordinary, exceptional payout for people early in the game with small businesses. Now, it can be bigger. There's no limitation on what it can be, but it can't be less if one does just that small amount of volume. That minimum income guarantee continues. There is a minimum income guarantee associated with each rank. When you get to the top of the compensation plan, when you're called a Crown Ambassador, it means you've got $1 million in volume, no more than 600,000 of it in any one leg. Then that minimum income guarantee is $1 million per year. That's 8.3%. So it's an amazing compensation mechanism which lets you with confidence tell a person specifically and exactly what they must do in order to reach these certain levels of income. But please remember, we can compare the compensation plan. We can, in fact, put that on the scale and compare it side by side, face to face. In so doing, you'll find the Canaway compensation plan is more lucrative, period, than what you're currently associated with. But that's failing to understand all of the things that make it possible to fuel the compensation plan because you're in Canaway. When you simply look at the compensation plan side by side, well, that's a comparison that's valid to some degree, but it doesn't matter. What if a person can't recruit? What if the compensation plan in some competitor looked better, but you can't recruit to the plan because the product doesn't excite people? Then where are you? You're nowhere. It comes back to the idea that by participating in the end of the prohibition of cannabis, by joining a discussion that people want to join, by having access to the world instead of having access to this tiny group of people who've embraced direct selling, we get a chance to fund the compensation plan so much more readily for so many more people that it is easier. And once again, I won't say easy because nothing great was ever accomplished that was easy, but is it easier? It is the easiest thing that I've ever seen in this industry. The next part of the compensation plan that I want to describe for you is called the coded. In the comp plan, it says coded Infinity bonus. I think more appropriately it could be called the coded leadership bonus. How does it work? Once you have gained executive director status, and what does it mean again to be an executive director? To be an executive director simply means you've done 5,000 volume points in a month. That's what it means. Now you're an executive director. It's a very, very small business. And so we know that to become an executive director, you would need to have had 2 valid working legs. And so if these 2 legs do 5,000 points in a month, the way the coded leadership bonus works is as follows. Each next person that you enroll after gaining executive director status on the group spawned by that new person you enroll after gaining executive director, then there is a 1% coded leadership bonus laid over the top of the unilevel. So the income is not affected here. Here you have the unilevel, here you have the minimum income guarantee, here you have the other provisions of the comp plan. But on the new group started after gaining executive status, there is a 1% coded leadership bonus laid over the top of the unilevel. So now on this group, on Generation 1, you don't earn 2% because the coded bonus is over top of it. It's 3. Here it's not 3%, it's 4. Here it's not 9%, it's 10. But here significantly, it doesn't stop where the unilevel stops. It continues. And it continues until it intersects the first person who has your same rank, and then it continues until it finds the second person who has your same rank or higher. And that's where it stops. And so you see, the reason I don't concern myself with the 9-level unilevel is because the money that interests me is in the coded infinity bonus, and it extends beneath the unilevel. Now this coded infinity bonus continues to go up with each next rank. And so once one becomes area director, so now here you have your original group Once you became executive director, you have a 1% coded bonus laid over the top of it, which then extends beyond the unit level. Once you become area director, each next group that you enroll after gaining area director status, there is 2% laid over the top of the unit level. And it continues beneath the unit level down until it intersects the first and then the second person at or above your rank. That continues. Today, my rank in the compensation plan is international director. I believe by the end of this month it will probably be vice presidential director. But today, it's international director. And so, I have my original group. I have those people that I enrolled when I was an executive director. I have a 1% coded leadership bonus laid over the top of those groups. All that I enrolled as an area director, I have a 2% coded bonus. All that I enrolled as regional director, I have a 3% coded bonus. All that I enrolled as national director, I have a 4% coded bonus. And all that I now enroll as an international director, I have a 5% coded bonus. And so on generation 1, of all people that I enroll now, I have, if I were to enroll you, on everyone, on your entire business, on first generation, I would not have 2%, but 5%. On ninth generation, not 10%, but 15%. And then 5% coded bonus would continue down until it intersected the first person, presumably you, when you gain my rank or higher, and then it will go down to the next one. And so it creates an ability to work very, very deep in payout. One of the demands of a correctly constructed compensation plan is to effectively and successfully connect together true leadership. It's true that in most organizational structures, leadership is not bunched together one upon one upon one. If it is, fantastic. That means you've got a higher quality of income and a higher size income. With the next rank advancement, there will be yet another higher coded infinity bonus. It goes up to 7.5%. And I've not even described here another compensation plan component that is not what I just described as coded, but another less lucrative but still important bonus that is simply described today as infinity as opposed to the coded infinity bonus. I've gone far enough now in terms of my compensation plan discussion and analysis, I think, for you to compare side by side. You can put the Canaway compensation plan on a balance beam against anything else in the industry, and I will here make for you a blanket statement. Remy, this is a blanket statement which cannot be disproven. Whatever size business you create in any company, our compensation plan will pay you more. Period. But now the more important discussion, because of the fuel that we add to the furnace. You see, the compensation plan is just the furnace. Because of the fuel that we make available to you, the fire will be easier to light. Because of the fuel that you have available to you, the fire will burn brighter. Because of the fuel that we have available to you, you'll be able to build an extraordinary bed of coals. Build a great big bed of coals. And once you've got a big bed of coals, you can drop any kind of a log onto that fire and it will burn. I could go on and on and on. I could spend a long time talking about the products this company offers. I could talk about the company, its ownership, its management group, the importance that this company has in the entire process of the ending of the prohibition of cannabis. I've never seen anything that is so obvious as the timing of this venture. This is a magic moment. I hope you don't allow too much of it to slip through your fingers. The compensation mechanism, I've just described the parts of it I think you need to know and understand at this point. There are other parts that are, I've described to you the most important parts. There are other components, rank advancement bonuses and so on. But I've just, lifestyle bonuses. But I've described to you the parts that I think I would need to know and understand in order for me to make a decision. Now remember, the next part of our discussion that maybe you won't like as much, but nevertheless, the truth is the truth and it's good enough. Sometimes people like the truth and sometimes they don't. But here's a bit of truth. This industry of ours of direct selling has devolved in my estimation. A lot of companies have turned to the strategy of buying leadership, things called business development agreements. We don't do it. We don't have to. You see, why do people do that? Why do companies do that? Because they have to. If they could attract leadership without it, they wouldn't do it. We don't have to do that. There are lots of companies who pay leadership to join them. We don't do it. There are companies who make all kinds of outside of the compensation plan agreements with supposed leadership to cause them to join. We don't do it because we don't have to. We build a compensation plan that is properly funded and properly fueled. The opportunity is immense. But once again, you can't compare us to anybody else. Remy, I would love to have you join us in our business. But I will tell you that the way that we compensate everyone is the same, and it's by method of the compensation plan. There's not a special deal for anybody. The deal is the compensation plan. The deal is the chance to participate. There are lots of people who have been polluted by the industry, who are accustomed to being made offers that are outside of the compensation plan. Our company will not make an offer for anyone that is outside of the compensation plan. And so once again, one simply has to wipe clean the slate and forget all that they know or think they know, and to some degree set aside past experiences, because our offering is the offering that you see printed in the compensation plan document. Okay, I hope that this material is helpful for you. I hope that it's beneficial for you. I look forward to our next discussion after you've had a chance to fully review. I again apologize that I don't speak French. I've done my best to talk slow. It probably didn't sound slow to you. It felt very slow to me. We're going to upload this for you to YouTube so that you can have it subtitled. And I'm hoping that this dialogue will lead to further discussion. I'm coming to Europe on September 14th. My first event in Europe is on September 16th. And I'm currently making the schedule for which markets I'll visit and which people I'll be with. If this dialogue has answered the questions that you need to have answered, and if you would like to, if you would like for us to get together in person, I would look forward to that very much. So, tell you in advance, I look forward to meeting you. I wish you the very, very best. I again congratulate you for the successes you've had thus far at your very early stage of life. And don't know what your own beliefs are. I'll tell you that I believe in a kind and loving God, and so I wish His greatest blessings on you. Thank you, Remy. God bless. Bye-bye.